We're going to try to build some mini games and a full-fledged game using the Godot game engine. And along the way, we'll probably conduct a few experiments. The goal of the educational game is to help players build competencies in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, all those types of important skills that schools are often teaching, but in a way that is game-like and engaging. We don't want to have, for example, a lot of repetition or grind in the game where you do the same equation over and over and over and solve it over and over and over. Or flashcards where you just repeatedly memorize words or something like that. Those are maybe important parts of the educational process, but they're not very game-like. They're not, in my experience, very enjoyable. And I think as a result, a lot of people will kind of be thrown to the side, be cast aside in our educational system who don't particularly enjoy those repetitious factory mechanical modes of teaching or learning. Games, however, can be fairly engaging, and we believe that having a narrative structure and a reason for doing things can greatly enhance the learning experience. We want to know, why am I learning algebra? Why am I learning, this particular equation? How is it useful? What can I do with it? We'll focus more on those details than having you repeatedly solve the equation for almost seemingly no reason. So these are all just thoughts that I've got building around this project. And I'm going to go ahead and start documenting those a little bit today. If you'd like to get involved with this project, you can stop by github.com/openlearningquest/game. Or if you've got some ideas for little smaller in scope games that have a simple mechanic that you might repeat a few times, and it could be more enjoyable, more or less enjoyable. It doesn't have to be full-fledged with story and everything else. You can stop by our mini games project and join the discussion there, and send your idea here in the ideas topic. And we can discuss and prioritize these ideas and turn them into issues and tasks and perhaps little working Godot games or mini games that can be integrated into the larger Open Learning Quest project. So let's go to this Open Learning Quest game project. And I've got the source code here locally. I cloned it. Yesterday, we merged an initial pull request with some details about the licenses, so to make clear our intention for the source code of these games and the assets, that they're all openly licensed. We want this to be an open educational resource. We want this to be something that people can build on, create, contribute back, or pay it forward with the creations that are built based on this initiative. So we don't want, for example, this project to be wrapped up, bundled up in a proprietary platform, and where the rest of the source code is obscured from the user. I believe learning should be open source, fully open source. We should always be able to get to the bottom of things, and if the information exists, it should be available to us if and when we need it. There's levels of abstraction involved as well, and I think this game can offer a high level of abstraction and not get bogged down too much into details, as long as the understanding of the principles emerges in the player's mind. Why is this equation useful? What can I use it for? Here's a situation in the game where I could use a linear equation. Why not apply a linear equation here? They don't necessarily have to unwrap it and use it step by step, but as long as they know that a linear equation would be applicable in that situation, they could use it like a superpower. And then the teacher can focus in class on how linear equations work, how to solve them, how to manipulate the algebra, things like that. We can complement existing resources, in which there are myriad textbooks and great platforms like Khan Academy. this should be a complement to Khan Academy, not a competitor. We want to tie in these concepts that kids are learning procedurally into a game world where they can use those declaratively. I can say, use a linear equation to solve this problem. And then the linear equation solves itself, more or less. It's a level of abstraction, but they knew the linear equation was the solution. That's the key insight. They know the applicability of these skills that they're learning in school. All right, so let's try to capture this. Initial docs, something like that. We're not going to use the GitHub wiki because it's, unfortunately, GitHub decided that the wiki wouldn't be under the same kind of revision control and licensing as the project. It's just something off to the side, and as soon as this code moves away from GitHub, well, you've lost the docs or you've lost the wiki. Now, we may just work on GitHub, but I believe that the documentation should be part of the source. It should be included there, and under the same kind of workflow as the source code, more or less. Maybe not exactly, but it's pretty similar. So the licensing and the revisions should all be kept in the source tree. And we'll just call this, we'll create a folder in the docs called index. I was thinking about using like a static site generator. For our docs, I just have been bogged down in choices with those and didn't ever come to a conclusion about a clear winner. So I'm just going to write. I'm going to focus on writing and not fiddling with documentation, build tools. If I just write it in Markdown, it'll be applicable. We can use it in these, most of these static site generators are compatible with Markdown. We'll at least pick one that is, or convert it to another markup language like HTML. And so today, I'm going to create a couple of them, I guess. Rationale. Did I spell that right? It's French, isn't it? Rationale. I don't want to get ahead of myself here. So we should have essentially describe why we exist, what we're trying to solve, our philosophy, and what's called the game design document. I forget the name of this. Let me look this up. But there's a word for this. It's called design. We'll create corresponding files for those. And design document templates will follow this probably. University of North Carolina. For a little bit, I was considering moving to North Carolina. Let me take a quick break before we get into writing, and I'll grab some water. I'm getting a bit dehydrated already. Okay. So we'll come back to this. Say initial outline. We'll create these rationale, philosophy, and design. These are a bit tricky. Let's start with the philosophy document. Suffice it to say, we're going to try to build our philosophy on some of the other historic figures, perhaps in the constructivist mindset. Actually, I was going to start with rationale. Philosophy or philosophical underpinnings. Less is more. All right, so just initial scaffolding is cool here. Cool. We'll publish this so it's up there, up and running. Create a draft pull request. And then I can actually just switch over here, check it out, and index, rationale, And they all just render. All right, so yeah, it's a bit minimal to work with Markdown. And I miss my Grammarly grammar checker. I don't think there's a Grammarly extension for VS Code. And for do, duh. Okay. Whoops, hey, just maximize what I'm trying to do here. Wow. All right, let's try it out. Let's run this off screen real quick. To the extent possible. Grammarly seems like it should have a menu somewhere. Let's see. Get blame. Let me see if we've got a VS Code thing here. No, I don't have that. Yeah, something like that. You can check Markdown files as well. Huh. Wow. Now, how does this work? Let's see. So I've got my thing here. Very cool. Can I rate that? Nah, it's all right. I logged in over there, I guess. So now Grammarly should oh, I see. It'll probably give me some specific suggestions. Passive voice is a bit difficult. All right, and I do it a lot. It's easy to get caught in this passive voice trap. Trying to think. Rationale and philosophy, there's some kind of division there. I actually should have just started with one big monolithic document. Now, the design document is the one that's going to be huge. Rationale and philosophy don't have to be. They could be just sections of index, in fact. Actually, I should do that. The problem is I'm mixing Markdown and huh. Okay, that was cool. How did it do that? For now. Move the link to design. Okay. We'll have to have a specific link to that, apparently. Come back to that later. Let's see if I can get this to wrap. All right, so it should wrap. That was deleted. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to say in the philosophy, but I just want to mention that learning shouldn't be punishing. Learning should be enjoyable, and learning should be driven, self-guided, and driven by the. It should be like a pull. It should pull the learner in through their interest and curiosity, and not push them into there with the threat of punishment or feeling inferior or failing the test. It should be appealing. Learning should be appealing, engaging, playful, creative. directly at the edge of their competency. Should basically adapt to the learner and provide just enough challenge. Successfully grow. Yeah, and somehow I want to mention this is about the nature of data and nature of knowledge being expansive and not contracting. Open-endedness. Grammarly doesn't seem to complain about that one. Yeah, maybe divergence isn't quite it, but it's like branching. Yeah, leave it there. It's all right. This is an important one. I'll get a little bit of water. All right, so on this section, I want to be careful not to be like a negative Nancy or too strongly opinionated. I want to be welcoming and engaging. But this section is probably at the core of why we want to build a game for learning, because games tend to be, or at least have the goal of engagement. Yeah, it's one of the main things game developers take in mind is how to keep the player engaged. Now, also want to be careful that engagement is used euphemistically for addiction, or more mildly, commoditization, something like that. Kind of getting people sucked into something so that they can be commoditized, become advertising targets, things like that for the ad tech industry. So I don't mean that kind of engagement where it's an addiction you're forming so you can become a product sold by the ad tech industry, right? It's not that one. And it's not engagement to the point of an addiction where you can't step away and have some fun playing outside or something like that, which I also know is kind of a danger that gamers can fall into as well, myself included in the past. But engaging, meaning drawing you in, stoking your curiosity, giving you a reason to take the next step, to open the next door, to take the leap, and kind of rewarding that, every step you take, rewarding that curiosity. So how do we do this? Well, I just said it. I mean, this kind of sounds good. Learning journey. On a journey now. But we're all on a journey. We're always learning. And we want to compel the learner to take that next step of their own volition, and not sort of because the parent or teacher said so, kind of a thing. And as parents and teachers, wow, that's pretty cool. We have the best of intentions. We want kids and learners and ourselves even to grow and take that next step because we have a broader vision. We can sort of see the benefit of this knowledge more abstractly in terms of workplace readiness, or allowing you to have a better career or more interesting career, like being a scientist or something like that. If you have some math and science competencies, you can continue to stoke your curiosity in some really interesting endeavors. So we would naturally want kids to gain these competencies. I just think there's also this real kind of, in a way, harmful practice of like essentially stealing kids' childhoods by forcing them to do so much studying and homework and things where kids also just need to be kids and have fun, play games, go outside, hang out with friends, do nothing. They don't have to be productive. They're not cogs in a wheel. Same thing with adults, right? Adult learners are, we're just big kids. Yeah. So hopefully Open Learning Quest wouldn't be just another tool forcing kids into spending more time studying. It should be fun, engaging, compelling, of the own volition, the learner's own volition. And parents can reward it, of course, or encourage those types of, providing a rich environment is also very beneficial. But kind of forcing and saying you have to spend this many hours, this time, every day doing this activity, and then regimenting a child's life like it's some sort of workplace. I think that's harmful. Enough said. Oh, I'm using British English. I just think so I won't get the squiggles. Oh, I got the squiggles. Okay. What? I don't know. See, that's one thing about writing in a code editor. I've got all these other things for code editing that are not relevant to writing prose. Huh. Oh, there it goes. Well, let's just say. Now I feel like I'm writing marketing stuff. it's kind of yeah, I think that's good enough that they make meaningful and self-guided decisions. I want to sort of want to be clear. It's not like an open world game where you can just, or sandbox game where you can just do anything, but maybe, it's not, that would be just very complicated, I think, to make an open world game. And sandbox game might imply directionless gameplay experience. I mean, the sandbox games are fun. We play some sandbox games here. We will support the player decisions and steer them towards meaningful, or steer them towards learning outcomes. While offering them yeah, it's kind of steering, and I don't want to be like manipulative or coercive in a sense, because I think, but that's kind of the way I teach, essentially, in giving meaningful decisions, but and even the choices are sort of both informed by educational intention or learning intention, but also respecting the learner as an individual who may not feel like learning right there, right then. So you got to kind of say, hey, sometimes you're just not in the mood to learn. That's okay too. You just want to relax. So I want to kind of include those in this philosophy document, those aspects. And this is the progressive part. And I think the idea here is that, similar to giving a rich environment with a lot of opportunities and toys or other games and things like that, you provide that environment, and you let the person kind of thrive and do their own thing, but you know that pretty much most of the things in that environment are stimulating or engaging or educational in some way, so they're going to kind of choose their own adventure in a rich environment. That's the main thing. Something like that. Now, choose their own adventure is the right phrase there. All right. Makes sense. Yeah, and again, I don't want to commit us to like an open world game, open-ended, completely open-ended gameplay. That we want to have some story and narrative, and I mentioned that story and narrative. Actually, I didn't so much. Maybe I'll mention in the engaging section. Well, story driven. Something like that. Yeah, it's pretty good. Descent. All right. Captures the essence. And it's I'm a bit tired. What time is it? Okay. Got a little bit of time. Been 1 hour to make the philosophy document. To be continued. Boink. And I'll kind of just put some structure in here for the continuing development of the design document. And I'm going to research this off stream a bit. And we're not gonna have combat. We may not have puzzles, things like that, but certainly it's not gonna be violent. The game doesn't have those. That is cool. Very cool. It's going to be a lot of work here. Thank you, UNC Computer Science. Now there should be a... Why didn't my table of contents get generated there? There we go. Wow. That is helpful. Mark down all in one. All right, we'll push this up to GitHub. That's about 1 hour. It's a good way to spend 1 hour. Whoa, there's a lot to game design, isn't there? We probably should, do a lot of these on the mini games as well as we experiment, but this is for a full-fledged game. Very cool. If you know chat, or if you're watching this video, viewer, if you know of any other good resources for learning the overall game design process and how to document some of your game design mechanics and assumptions, let me know in the comments. This is a learning adventure for me, and we're grateful for any kind of resources to help us along the way, such as this game design document outline from, I guess, the University of North Carolina Computer Science Department. Let's see what that website looks like. College of Arts and Science at UNC, which I believe is, Chapel Hill, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Nice. Thank you very much for that resource. It's very valuable. Welcome to a recap of today's open source live code hangout. Today, I've been working on the Open Learning Quest project, at least the game project. Open Learning Quest has 3 sub-projects. We're intending to build an educational game where players build competencies and understanding as part of an interactive story. We also have a mini-games project used to develop small projects where we build game mechanics in around one or more educational concepts, and an experiments project where we have just ideas that we want to try out with no real game mechanic or goal in mind, just to see how it works in the Godot game engine. Every step in this journey is a learning step. There's learning involved in a way. So today's step was to create some initial documentation for the project, kind of describing the philosophy and rationale driving the Open Learning Quest project, as well as begin or lay the foundations to write a game design document, which will include a lot of elements, a lot of details describing our intentions. And these will both be living documents we can update as we learn new competencies and skills and find limits, or change our mind, or get feedback from the playtesters, etc. This is intended to be a living project and a participatory project. If you're interested in game design or open educational resources, design in general, we would like to hear your thoughts. You can stop by github.com/openlearningquest and join one of our discussions. If it's relating to the primary game, the game project discussions is probably the best place. But if you've got an idea for a mini game that's something small and achievable, you can stop by the mini games project and say, hey, it would be cool to have this flashcard game or anything like that. These don't have to be big narrative driven things. They can just be something small that a player can spend 5 minutes doing and win or lose. They can be doesn't have to be binary like that. It can be just something you tinker around with, sandbox, using gravity and physics to interact with something. And anyway, all these ideas are valuable, and we'll discuss them, and if it gets enough traction, then we can put it into our issue queue and start developing it, again, using the Godot game engine. All right, well, this has been another open source code hangout. Thanks for your time, and I hope you're doing well.